So this morning I've come to a location called Dhoon Glen, which is on the east coast of the Isle of Man. It's a really steep valley that leads down to the sea, and it's particularly famous for a very large and tall waterfall, probably the tallest on the island. So I'm going to head there this morning and try and get some shots. It's probably been about 6 years since I've come to this location, which is quite shocking. It's considered one of those classic kind of shots that all Isle of Man photographers get. But actually, looking back through my photos, I'm not actually that satisfied with any that I've managed to capture in the past. So I'm going to come here today and see if I can actually finally put that right. The conditions today are poor. It's drizzling with rain, it's very grey. But actually, in my experience, they're some of the best conditions to actually come and shoot waterfalls like this, because you get less harsh light and you get a more even exposure of these kind of dark sort of places. So I'm quite hopeful that these conditions should work well, and to be honest, there wasn't much else that I could shoot today. I'm about halfway to the waterfall so far, and I tell you what, this place is absolutely stunning. It's so peaceful. I haven't seen another person the whole time I've been here, but that might have something to do with the fact that the weather is total crap. It's starting to rain a lot heavier now, so I'm a little bit worried about this shoot, whether it's going to be jeopardised by this rain. Hopefully not. Also, this glen is so steep. So I think it's going to be a bit of a slog going back up to the car. Hopefully it'll be worth it though. Ta-da! So this is Dhoon Glen waterfall, an absolutely stunning waterfall, definitely the best in the Isle of Man, I would say. So I'm going to have a little wander around the base of the waterfall and try and look for what composition I want to go for, set my tripod up and get shooting. So I've found my composition. I'm sitting on a precarious riverbank, and a little part of me is actually fearful for my life here. It's been a bit of a challenge getting this set up here. You can see behind me that my tripod barely has any room to actually set up. But I think there's a good reason for doing this. I think if you actually get too close to the waterfall by itself, you can get fine shots of the waterfall, but the composition lacks something, I feel. If you actually come a little bit further back from the waterfall, you can actually get a little bit of the river flowing through the foreground, and I think that actually presents a much more balanced shot. So what am I shooting at today? Well, the all-important settings. I'm shooting at f11, half a second, ISO 320, about 18mm. That wide angle allows me to capture the full extent of the waterfall and a really nice foreground. The reason I'm shooting at half a second is I feel personally with waterfalls, to get the best effects, you really need to be shooting between about half a second and 1.5 seconds. Any longer than that, and I think you get a bit too much movement in the water, I think it loses something. I think with the shorter speeds, it just presents a nicer effect. I've got a little bit of exposure compensation because it was actually overexposing just ever so slightly. The ISO is at 320 because it's quite a dark, rainy, overcast day, and I'm going to struggle to get it much lower than that. Let's shoot off the shot now and see how it looks. Very nice. I think the foreground adds so much to it, so really pleased how that's come out. I've looked at the first image a little bit more closely on my LCD screen, and I'm not actually happy with it. The foreground is pin sharp, and that's where I'm focusing. But the background, the waterfall itself, is ever so slightly soft. So I think I'm going to reshoot it, but this time I'm going to focus stack it. So I'm going to actually focus on the rocks, the foreground, the same as I did previously, but then I'm going to take a second shot where I move the focal point back to the waterfall itself. I think this will allow me in post-processing to get a better overall image. Focus stack is going to make a massive difference to that final image, I really do. But I've been asked this before, what's the actual point in focus stacking? I've been asked, why don't you just shoot at f22? That'll give you maximum depth of field and get everything pin sharp. And technically that's true, but actually as you go to the higher f numbers, you actually start to get lens diffraction. Don't want to go too much into the boring technicalities, but actually that starts to undermine your sharpness. So there's a balance to be had, and I find I get better results focus stacking an f11 image than I do shooting one image at f22. I'd actually packed up my bag and I was just about to leave, and I just saw another composition. It's so hard to actually stop shooting sometimes. So I've actually set up my tripod again, and I'm going to totally defy my advice from earlier. I'm going to get into that a little bit closer to the waterfall, brave the mist and go for another shot. Let's see how it turns out. I'd listened to my own advice. I've come back from the waterfall now because the mist was just absolutely ridiculous. Every square inch of me is absolutely soaked. My equipment is absolutely soaked. I'm not really sure whether it was worth going in and getting that second shot. It looked good, but sometimes the hassle just isn't worth it. So yeah, I should have listened to myself really. So I've finished shooting now. I think I've had enough for the day. I feel really cold now. But overall I think the two shots that I got of the waterfall quite different to each other, and I think they capture the waterfall in different ways, so I'm quite pleased overall. But very challenging conditions today, a lot of rain, a lot of mist, a lot of dampness generally, and now I've got a long steep walk back up the valley to the car. Why do I do photography again? Finally back to the car. Finally back to the car. Absolutely knackered. God, I feel out of shape at the moment. That's quite a hard climb up. But overall today's shoot was really challenging. Lots of rain, lots of mist. But I don't want to focus too much on the negatives. I think overall it was a good trip. I had the whole glen to myself. I didn't see another person all morning. And I came out with two shots that I'm quietly confident will look good once I get post-processing them. So overall, very pleased. But I'm soaked, I'm cold, and I've had enough of photography for today. So I think I'm going to head home, have a nice cup of tea, and put my feet up. So until next time, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week.